Today we're going to discuss installing an external bin control on the new Elevation Series Ice-O-Matic ice machine. This will just cover the bin control itself, as there's different models for different dispensers to be installed. So the first thing we want to do is remove the front panel, which we're going to back these screws out a couple of turns. That. And then we will slide the panel off and place it on the top. We will turn the machine off by hitting that button one time and then disconnecting the electricity to the machine. Next, we'll remove the side panel by releasing the front panel, lifting it up in the front, pushing it back a little bit. Same thing on the side panel. So unlock it here, push it to the back. This will give us access to the control board where we'll install the bin control. What we'll need to do is loosen the screw on the control panel, removing this cover. That will give us access to plug the bin control into the control board, which is this socket right here. This is your typical Ice-O-Matic bin control to be installed on the ice machine. On the new CIM series, we have a cutout where this goes, and it will be installed right into this cutout like this. Okay, now all you'll need to do is line up the holes just like this. This will give you front access to the bin control. Fasten with the two supplied screws, as so. Okay, once that's installed, we want to take our bin control lead and just kind of uncoil it a little bit, as so. Be very careful not to kink this. This is a refrigerant charged line. If it loses the refrigerant, it will not operate. So we want to uncoil it a little bit. Install the protective sleeve that comes with it. Okay, now that we have our protective sleeve on the thermistor, we'll insert it through this hole on the side of the unit. We will punch out this knockout for the lead to go into the free zone of the ice machine. Now we will run the remaining tubing through that hole, all the while making sure not to kink that line until we have our protective sleeve to go all the way down to the hole. And just fasten that straight. And we'll be good to go there. Okay, so after the bin control is installed, the next thing we want to do is come to the control board, and once we're at the switch, all we want to do is the second switch from the top that's labeled bin stat, bin ST. You take a paper clip or something small and fine in there, and you're just going to move that over to the right. Now you see that second switch is moved over to the right, and that allows the external bin control to be the primary bin control, and then the curtain be the secondary. Lastly is the electrical. The harness that is supplied will come in through this access portal of the control box. Install both wires through there. pull these through as so. These will plug into the bin control. Either way, it's fine. Plug those in, and then the other harness, the other side of the harness will plug into the control board as so. Pull those wires through just to make sure they're not bundled up on anything. We'll reinstall our control panel cover. They have these grooves that will slide up into the top and then slide over to the left. Reinstall the bottom screw. Fasten everything tightly. So now what we're going to do is adjust the bin control to read the ice, that the bin is full of ice. So once it's installed, you'll see that this is straight up and down. Just make a tick mark right there to know that's where you started with a Sharpie, and right here. So that way you just have a good starting point. You know where to start. Okay, so what we want to do is you want to position some ice around this thermal well so that it's sitting in ice. Let the machine complete its cycle. Once it goes into harvest and drops the ice, if the machine shuts off, the bin control is set fine. If it doesn't shut off, we're going to need to adjust the bin control. If the ice machine is shutting off prematurely or it's too sensitive, it's shutting off and there's really no ice touching it, there's just ice around it, what we'll need to do is to turn this switch counterclockwise will be warmer. So we just want to turn it just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch of a turn, warmer. And quite the opposite, if there's ice on it and it still hasn't turned off, we want to turn it clockwise to make it a little colder. Go through the same cycle, put ice on it, let it go through harvest and see where it shuts off. And that will be your set for your bin control.